Children are not animals. They cannot be sold. They must decide when to marry and with whom. Just to everybody who are in the position and who work for protecting children's rights, please don't allow anymore to happen child marriages, not only with Roma. That is a fundamental violation of children. In July 2011, discussion began among Roma men who became aware of a girl of 15 from a family with limited financial means. Two Roma men started to discuss in a bar, then one of them said that he wants to marry his son and he is looking to find a beautiful Roma girl from a family with a limited financial situation. Then the other man said that he knows a beautiful girl that lives in such a situation and he will take him to his family to discuss. So they visited the girl's family, meeting her grandmother and mother. The father of the girl and her siblings are left when they were young. The man bargained directly with the grandmother for the girl to marry his son, who was currently living in a Western European country. The families agreed that the children would marry. The girl's family asked for a large sum of money and a big wedding ceremony to take place within a week. The 15-year-old boy did not want to marry. He wanted to return. He didn't want to return in Romania to get married. He tried to run away from home, and he told to his mother he wanted to kill himself. However, the wedding went ahead. It was a big ceremony for the families and for the community. Local authorities attended the ceremony. The day after the wedding, the families and community went to see the results of the virginity test. But the bedsheet was not stained, and the community was shocked. This was the beginning of a terrible order for these children. They were cruelly beaten and taken to a specialist to determine the problem. The boy was labeled as homosexual, incapable of maintaining sexual relations. The children were forced to maintain sexual relations for a week. The boy was then taken to a specialist and he received hormonal treatment. The community had not seen a positive virginity test. The father of the groom decided to take both children out of the country. After 4 months, the bride and groom and his family came back. After a few days, the girl was taken back by her mother. At this point, there was a big conflict between the two families and also other people in the community. In July 2011, when this case happened with the children, I went personally to discuss with the social assistant, the police sergeant, and the mayor from the local hall from Banloc village, in order to find a solution for these two children. I explained them the situation and all the physical and psychic traumas, beatings and hormonal medicines that were pushed these children, and I asked them to intervene. Their answer was that they could not intervene because that type of marriage is Roma tradition. And that is your unwritten law, and we respect that. I contacted by phone the child protection from Timișoara, and they said they could not act in this case because child marriage is Roma tradition. I remember them that few months before they attended at the community action about informing the authorities and the Roma community about the law that prohibits child marriages, which I organized in Banloc village school and where they attended, and they closed me the phone. I recalled them, but nobody answered to me. I insisted many times, but without an answer. Then, after more and more days, I received an answer that if something can be done, should be done by local authorities. But in the Roma cases, nothing can be done about child marriages. In November, when the children turned back in Romania, and when a big part of the community started to involve in the conflict, I recontacted by phone the social assistant from the local hall. When they heard who I am, they closed me the phone. I went to the local hall and I discussed with the mayor. He started to laugh and he said that nothing can be changed about the Roma tradition. And he said that has a lot of other very important things to do and he left. In November, when I went to the community to talk with the girl and her mother, they started to be very aggressive with me. I could not talk with them. I had to run because the girl and her mother wanted to beat me. And they ran after me with an axe. I called the police to intervene. The mother of the girl received a fine for cursing me. This was the only police response. I asked the police to not put the mother of the girl a fine for cursing me, but to put her a fine because she married her girl at a child age in order to receive money for her. And because she wants to sell her again for another marriage in order to receive much more money. The answer the police officer gave me was that he could not intervene in a family matter. And the only thing that he could do is to give her a fine because she was cursing me. Some Romani people in Banluk village said that the mother of the girl her stole the bride, her daughter, for her new family in order to sell her for marriage again and in order to receive much more money to survive. The first amount of money received was enough to build a new room and to live better for a few months. Before the first marriage, the girl and her mother and her family, 4 people, lived in one room. When I contacted the social and child protection services, the answer I received it was, it's not so urgent, and the legal period in which they cannot is a period of a month. Receiving this answer, I contacted Child Fall Association, where the answer I received was, wow, the case is very serious and will send people to see the situation. After 8 days of insistence and pressure from Child Phone Association, Social and Child Protection from Timisoara sent a social worker who went to see the bride's family and the social worker from the village hall. And the police agent made her mother to sign a statement promising that he would not sell her daughter again for marriage. The family of the groom tried to take the bride back, but he could not because her mother did not want to give her back. After a discussion with the community judge, the judge determined that the girl was the property of the groom and of his family, but the judgment could not be executed for the formal reason that there was no man in the girl's family to take responsibility for carrying out the judge's orders. Seeing how the situation was getting worse daily, and how more and more Romani people were getting involved in the conflict, and seeing how no one from local or specialized authorities did not intervene, I contacted the European Roma Rights Center. I met with several staff members to discuss the case. At that point, there was no clear sense at what approach to be pursued, as more details were considered necessary for making a clear call. Different angles have been argued, particularly how to ensure that the best interest of the child is considered by the families, the potential removal of children from the families, requesting state authorities to investigate the case and to intervene, the type of intervention to be requested. It was noted though the sensitivity of the case and the potential adverse implications at a very local level. I further discussed the case with a human rights monitor in Romania, with whom I talked by phone, but we did not reach a concrete plan as to how to deal with the situation. I am very concerned and disappointed because of the apparent impossibility of providing any protection for the 2 children. I thought this case would finish with the 2 children protected by specialized institution, charging protecting children's rights, and that is the community, and that is the community. In this community, child marriage might start to stop. Now, however, I'm afraid of how and where the case will finish, and I really hope that the 2 families will not kill each other. I'm also extremely concerned because it's through a community action regarding this case that the Roma community in Banluk has learned for the first time about the legislation regarding children's fundamental human rights and the fact that child marriage is prohibited by law, as well as the punishment for violating the children's rights. But despite the fact that local authorities and legal specialized attended this event, the circumstances around this case made it clear to everyone that the legislation does not seem to apply to Roma. And the result, and as a result, they will continue to practice child marriage. Today, the girl is 5 months pregnant, and the boy has been married the second time to another girl aged 14. The new bride is from a village near to Hungarian border, and she does not speak Romani or Romania. They have to use sign languages to communicate. The parents of the boy said, "We wanted to repair the happiness of our boy, so we just bought another bride for him." A few days after the wedding, the groom's family took the new bride and their son out of the country. Despite the numerous violations of the human rights of these children, neither local authorities nor the specialized authorities on protecting children's rights intervened effectively in this case. As a general matter, in my experience, local authorities, including police and others, never react appropriately and in the interest of the victim in cases of child marriage in my area. Living in poverty with no access to basic social services and no opportunities, Roma families adopt survival strategies. Despite the visible violation and exploitation of basic fundamental human rights, what it will take to allow Romanian marginalized children to finally enjoy their fundamental rights. Today, if a human being does not have access to his or her fundamental rights, what does it mean? For Roma people, slavery was not abolished, only on the papers. What they live today is a hidden slavery, covered with full of racism, prejudices, and stereotypes. By conducting this research, I found out that Roma people in my community in Banuk village, and not only, live in an oppressive system, which pushed them to practice child enforced marriages. They are living in structural oppressions. So Roma communities becomes harmful within a political context, which continues to Roma misery, poverty, and to their dehumanization. Seen as opposite is a symptom caused by the institutional practices, which reinforce the practice of child marriages and child sexual abuse, and the commercial exploitation of the children. These are grave violations of the fundamental human rights of the children. Are contemporary forms of slavery, are crimes against Roma children within a political context.